in South Africa's elections. Do you remember Jacob Zuma? Yeah, I'm sure you remember Jacob Zuma. He's won his case, and so he may be able to contest in the next elections. Scholarship Bruhaha, Office of Special Prosecutor petitioned to probe registrar, Daily Analyst newspaper. Akufo-Addo sacks Ofori Tenkorang, gives SNIT Director General job to Osarfo-Marfo's son. It's not Osarfo-Marfo. Okay, it's Osarfo-Marfo's son. Mahama is a threat to free SHS. Timba Omia wants, and I think it was Miracles Abwaji or somebody like that who spoke in relation to that subject. But I've been joined in the studios by Professor Titus Bayo, NDCPC for Lambusie constituency. Good morning. I trust you are well.
I'm good. And you?
No, you look very good. The economy is not shaping you.
It's shaping us a lot. I'm good health-wise, but not financially.
I'm in doubt. And the one and only lawyer Apia Dankwa, member Movement for Change. Good morning, Council.
Morning.
I trust you are well.
Yeah, I'm doing great.
Fantastic. The way you are smiling, it means you are coming to fire today. Whenever you smile, it means that the arsenals will be flowing.
I'm always excited when I'm with my
business partner. And Professor Isaac Bwedi, lecturer UPSA. Prof, where's hello?
Kwame, good to see you.
Likewise.
It's been a while.
It has, indeed.
Right.
Indeed.
Right.
You know, the way you've gotten yourself a nice haircut, it means that the economy is economy.
Well, we can't complain.
Oh, you can't.
We just depend on God.
Yeah. But you can complain small.
When the time is right, we complain.
All right. For those of you who are asking about my outfit, it was produced here in Ghana by my personal designer. His name is Peter. He's in Dome Pillar 2. So please, you may want to contact him on 0242 536 I repeat, 0242 536 Let's go to South Africa and discuss the matters arising thereof in relation to President Zuma, former President Zuma of South Africa, that has been cleared. Because you remember that there were some allegations leveled against him. Now he's been cleared, he can contest in the South African elections. Let me start with you, Senior Counsel.
Yeah, so let me take this opportunity to wish your lovely viewers a good morning, yourself a good morning. Also to say that I'm privileged to be in the middle of two esteemed professors. I hope I can show myself worthy to be seated in their
but in the scheme of affairs, you are above, slightly below a knight and above a gentleman. So you are equally there, my brother.
So I can put myself. Jacob Zuma is, I was going to say he's an enigma. Would it be the right word to use?
Maybe.
Former president, attempted MP. But as in, to put it in proper context, we need to understand how the South African system works. You know, their system is quite different from ours. So they essentially vote for what's called more or less the parties, and then depending on the number of seats you are able to garner, you choose essentially the president. Now Zuma, a staunch ANC member, having been president, and I think the first president after Mahama was the person after the first one after Mandela, and
see the endorsement of his excellency.
Oh no, this a slip of tongue.
There's ME, there's ME.
A genuine slip of tongue.
No, which means that he wants to bash Mahama, so he was contemplating. Yes.
So a staunch ANC member, having been imprisoned, ex-president who have been imprisoned, and essentially the consequences of the so-called imprisonment. You know, per South African law, you are barred from being president if you are imprisoned for or you serve a term for more than 12 months. You understand? And I think the issue concerning Zuma hovers around exactly what that means. So I mean, you know that there are some instances where you can go to prison or you can be prison, not necessarily because of criminal in the proper sense of the word act. Let's say for contempt, we know it's a criminal contempt, but it's not your proper crime like crime. Yeah. And whether or not where you've been imprisoned for issues that are not born out of crime properly so called, but from, let's say, a contemptuous act to the court, whether or not that would fall under or satisfy the qualification of you having been imprisoned for about 12 months, and because of that you're being disqualified to stand as president of South Africa. I think that's what, or to stand for to run for an election. I think that's the crust of the case in South Africa. We know Zuma was invited by a certain committee probing certain financial misappropriation on Zuma's part. He refused to appear, and as a consequence of that, he was imprisoned. Yeah. You understand? I know appeals were made, and indeed the term was even reduced. Now, when Zuma attempted to contest for MP, what did the party? I think the party is called MK. The party is called
President to MP.
I brought him here, not on ANC's ticket, but on MK. And then also, when you understand the dynamics in South Africa now, the ANC is not as popular as you were used to. And for the first time, they are worried that they may even need to form coalitions if they are to maintain their hold on South African politics to the extent that, like I said, the party that wins their elections essentially will choose the president. You understand? It's not like Ghana where you sponsor a candidate, and so NDC will sponsor Mahama, MPP will sponsor His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and Alan Chamati will sponsor himself. You understand? It's not in South Africa. You essentially vote for the party. So when Zuma, especially the hold he has over the KwaZulu Natal area, on the back of that party, which is not ANC, attempts to contest as an MP, obviously the ANC will be worried. So his eligibility was questioned in court, and I think for me the issue was that the first court upheld the the challenge on Zuma's eligibility, and that's they have an electoral court, and then he took it to the constitution, and then they overturned the decision. The information I'm getting is that they have not given reasons for why it was overturned, and for me that's a worry. I don't know how their system works, but I'm thinking that because of the enormity of the matters beforehand and its impact on not just on politics in South Africa, but on the rule of law and the constitutional development in South Africa, it was necessary that they explained this question. They answered the question. The question being whether or not where a conviction or an imprisonment has been occasioned by way of an infringement on in front of a civil court, something like contempt, whether or not that will be enough to satisfy the eligibility requirement as per their own constitution. That's a very critical question, and I'm a bit disappointed that they have not given the reasons. I'm sure it will come, but because of the enormity of this matter, I was hoping that those reasons would have been delivered immediately. But having said that, and you really said we are business partners and we have a shared commitment to political and constitutional development in Ghana and in Africa at large, and I'm sure they'll be hearing of us more. But I think it's another step in the constitutional development, not just in South Africa, but in Africa as a whole. We know that some of these issues cause controversies, but in my view, what they do is that they help in the overall constitutional development of our political system. And so, Kwame, not to waste precious time on this issue, I think the matters are pretty clear. I think my disappointment is also clear. I was just hoping that they would give their reasons early. Just to say that let's wait and hear, for me, that's where my interest lies. Hear what the South African court would have to say as to how they see this thorny issue. And just to hold my horses for the scholarship discussion.
Very well. All right, so you just listened to lawyer Apia Dankwa deliver his submission on the South African matter. Let me come to Professor Isaac Bwedi. Prof.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
Right.
And good morning to you.
Good morning.
Your viewers as well. The issue here is very simple. Jacob Zuma, you gave a good background to becoming, was inaugurated, I think, at the height of financial meltdown somewhere in 2008 or so, amid the first recession in South Africa, which they recorded. I think he was president for 9 years around that period, established the National Planning Commission, a lot of achievements during his regime. We are told the court now clears him to run for the president's the elections, which was earlier on the Electoral Commission, South Africa, disclosed that they didn't want to allow him to run for the elections. This election, or in May 2020, May 29th, that's when they'll have elections. It promises to be after the advent of democracy in 1994, one of the key elections that they're going to have. Breaking away from ANC to form, I don't know the name of the MK. We can keep it MK because the words are, some funny names. That is the story we have. I think over the years, with a population of almost 60 million, KwaZulu controlling about 10 million. That's a lot. And he's been there for so many years, a lot of achievements. We can't discount his contribution to the economy and to the political processes over the years. We will say that a ghost is coming back to haunt the ANC. He left the party so many years, and now he's going to run as independent. He's from his own party. In fact, the ANC is now struggling with weak economy, allegations of corruption, mismanagement. That's a picture we have at ANC now. And if he's going to come back, that is a tall order for them. What are the lessons here? In Ghana, when we don't live in an island, whatever happens in our jurisdictions obviously would affect us. We learn lessons out of other jurisdictions. We are careful when there are breakouts or breakaways. Individual moving out of one political party to form another. And we can talk about the movement for change. They are going to have a toll on MPP, for sure. And I can tell you, these are lessons we need to pick out of certain, when there are breakaways, when India decide to form their own party. But let me be quick to say this. My good friend was talking about the fact that we are yet to hear the judgment. From a few investigations, their lawyers for Zuma indicated that it's more of a civil than a criminal proceeding. So, which obviously means that he's not qualified to run for. Another lesson is that we should allow our cause to work. For me, I'm happy that their political faithful did not take to the streets to fight and contest and do all those things. But if they allow the system to work, we get a result which other countries also emulate. So that's
Pero, and I think I like the ending part of your submission where you're admonishing that we should allow our cause to work, because I think that on the continent, Kenya has been very exemplary in pointing us to the possibilities of having better democracy if we allowed our judiciary to work freely without any political interferences. And South Africa is also a demonstration of the possibility that the courts can be allowed to work in the interest of the people. You recall that in recent times, I think that one, shall I say, very positive move by ANC is in respect of the position that they have taken relative to Palestine and Israel war, to the extent that they actually took the matter to international court. So I think that, yes, on the basis of that, that's a very important lesson that we must draw, because, and it is precisely the reason why in Ghana, a lot of the people do not have full confidence, maybe partial confidence in the judiciary, but if full confidence, I doubt very much that people do have that, and that is cause for worry, because especially when our democracy ought to be nurtured on the stills of rule of law, demonstrable rule of law, that you are able to predict the law and that the law is very certain. So I agree with that point, that we must draw some important lessons from them. But let me come to you, Prof. Beyo, on this subject matter.
So let me say good morning to my co-panelists and good morning to our Muslim friends. I think I'm informed that, yes.
I was part of the iftar. I did my iftar. Brilliant. I love.
Yes, so let me say.
That was that.
That was sad. It invaded all of us.
So it's good. It's good I'm here with you. Yeah, they are done today.
Some are done today, some will be done tomorrow.
Yeah, so
officially,
a lot of the places they are praying the final prayers today,
yeah,
which means the fasting is done, but the holiday for it is tomorrow. So I do know
the holiday
that.
for it is tomorrow, because some will complete tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
I think there are different sects. Yeah. So how do they call them? I've forgotten, but they will say
some are doing 29, some are doing 30.
Not the Tijania, not. So I think it's
the Sunni, the
Ahmadis. The Ahmadis will finish tomorrow.
Yeah. So I just want to say a happy Eid to all of them and all those who are celebrating, and we pray that God has heard their prayers in this 30 days, 29 days of fasting. And to just add a bit to the Jacob Zuma story, I would say it's a celebration for the rule of law that he gets an opportunity. The courts have spoken, they've expressed their opinion, and it's now time for the masses to express their opinion. And I think that's the beauty of democracy. The courts will always have their say, the people will also have their say. Sometimes when we use the legal route to exclude people, especially if there's no justification for it, it doesn't engender to the growth of democracy. If you look at the substance of the matter, he had allegations of corruption hanging around him. He needed to clear his head on all of that, and it was contempt. Not that any of this was proven, and therefore is the reason why he had to be prevented from contesting. And so I'm happy for him that he has opportunity. And I don't know why, if I were him at this age and having gone through all of this, having been forced out of office as president, I'm not sure I would have gone down to contest again. Maybe be a very senior citizen, guide the people, so prove your point, get a democracy to run. I can understand his formation of the party. And sometimes in politics, these things like this do happen. There are interests, competing interests, personal interests, group interests, and sometimes it's very difficult to balance the two. I think it's an awakening call for the ANC. The ANC is perhaps, after 30 years of rule, is going to go through their toughest time ever. And this election is going to test the strength of that group in South African politics. And if Jacob Zuma makes significant progress because of his ethnic area, then the very core of their democracy has been challenged. And it means that they have to relook at things as the ANC and all other parties and make sure that people are given fair opportunities. And one of the quick lessons we learn from it is that when political parties have issues, reasoning should be brought to bear, and where it is possible to solve them before breakaways occur, it should be done. And I think we've seen a lot of that here in both sides of the divides. In the NDC, we've had people who have moved out from parties and have come back. And the MPP, we are seeing the same. And sometimes it affects the fortunes of the main party that they break away from. But of course, to the extent that that benefits the other side, it's always a welcome news to them. And some of these things all enrich the democracy. But I would really, really, really wish that the people of South Africa make their wish known in the elections. If it's a lesson to ANC that they are not happy with their governance structure, they are not happy with their leadership structure, it should show. But it should not be based merely on tribal affiliations, ethnic affiliations, and because of where one comes from. That will deviate from the path. But I'll make a little comment on the rule of law and the role of the courts. You know, in every society, and I think all of us must promote confidence in the judiciary.
Yep.
Because it's perhaps the final arbiter for most of our situations, and it's the place where judges are not voted for. So we expect that no matter how you are appointed, when you get there, you have a security of tenure. We expect that the law will guide you. There'll be your rulings and judgments should be predictable. As you said, there should be certainty. I don't know, I'm not a lawyer, but if in the scientific space we say that there's validity and there's of a research, and meaning that if you subject the same set of facts to 10 lawyers, they should come up with the same verdict. That is what promotes confidence in the rule of law. And I would urge that politicians stay off the judicial system, because people are losing confidence in the executive, and if there is loss of confidence in the judiciary,
the chaos,
then there's chaos. We don't have any other alternative. So the appointing authorities should be cautious of this, and because sometimes some appointments that are made to the bench seems to affect the confidence that people have. When you appoint known political entities to the bench, it's very difficult for people to have confidence, because once you enter into this political space, the executive arm of government, and get yourself in all of that, you are tainted in a way, and so it's very difficult for people to accept you in that arm that we expect you to be completely neutral. So to the extent that we have neutrals around, we have people vexed in the law around that can be appointed, I think the appointing authorities should look at that. Then my final call then will be to those so appointed. Please, there is a reason why you are giving security of tenure. There's a reason why we all revere that institution, that's the judiciary, because it's our final arbiter. And therefore, no matter who appoints you, no matter how you are appointed, let your conscience and the law guide you. You know, so that you know that whatever decision you make, it will be subject to judicial review, it will be subject to review by the public, and it has a way of impugning some perceptions on the judiciary. And for all you know, just one judge may be making decisions that is making the confidence in the entire judiciary dwindle. So I think on the part of the judges themselves, they should be mindful of this, that I'm not just sitting in my courts, but whatever I do here is affecting the entire entity of the judicial arm of government. And be mindful so that whatever we bring should be predictable. That, look, if you put the same facts there, every reasonable judge will take this course. And that is what will bring the confidence. But I should congratulate Jacob Zuma for at least being exonerated. Now he has to face the people. And the people, I think, perhaps are the most important judges now, not the law court, because they will determine the future of his party that he has formed. And we look for that.
Usually we draw the nexus between happenings in other African countries
and
that of Ghana, because we feel that the material conditions in those other African countries and that of Ghana are, you know, are the same pari material. I mean, they are the same. Now, so I am happy that you in your final submission, brought in or reaffirmed, or maybe rehashed the issue about having confidence in the judicial. I would want lawyer to touch on that briefly. And I think that it is deeply steeped in the principle of political patronage.
Yes.
You know, drawing its inspiration from clientelism. And that's what I was trying to just bring to our attention, you know. But that shouldn't be the case, really, because, like you rightly indicated, the security of tenure. And so when you are appointed to the bench, you should be able to uphold the principles and the tenets of that office. You know, that you must have a high moral turpitude so that people can have confidence in you and confidence in the office that you occupy. So, Council, maybe you may briefly want to touch on that, especially also because in recent times, you have witnessed that there have been some backlash, you know, at the judiciary. People are raising serious, legitimate concerns about the patriotism of the persons who are occupying, you know, those offices.
You see, I hold a slightly different perception.
Okay.
But I do agree that there's a growing perception, which in my view seeks to question the integrity of our judges. But you see, when you are talking about one of the finest judiciaries in Africa, rather than we were praising the South African judge, Ghanaian judges were doing this way back in the 90s. Apart from the Inri Akoto case, where you might have felt that the judges budged or swerved, because in that case they said clear that they did not have the authority to question how Parliament did its work, which I disagree. But when you take a review of the constitutional development of how our judges have generally ruled, especially in this fourth democratic dispensation, and also especially in the 90s, where there are so many instances where the judiciary had the courage to go against the position of the executive. You understand? So that if we have a situation where the perception seems to be that the judiciary seems to be in bed with the executive, I think it should be a question of we looking at the persons, the integrity of the persons, and having a broader view of the situation. Because at the end of the day, we had situations where in the 90s, where almost all the judges at that time, because of how long J.J. Rawlings has stayed in power, were practically appointed during J.J. Rawlings' time. And yet, in almost all the cases brought against his government, the judiciary made findings that were against the position of the executive. You understand? So, also, I think we as politicians also have a duty in a role in the kind of perception we create in the minds of the people. Because you see, when we are talking about the creation of political culture, and then the role political parties have in that duty to create that right political culture, that will not only tolerate other views, but also create a system where people will believe in the integrity of the. I think that the political parties have also not, because we were talking about interest, and I think we always put the interest of the entire population to the back burner and always consider our personal interest or the interest of political parties. Because the Prof has said something very monumental, that at the end of the day, in scientific review, you understand, you expect that when you've put in a research before, let's say 10 scientists, you all come to a similar conclusion. Now, our judicial system, recognizing the chances of there being genuine mistakes, created the review jurisdiction. Now, I've found instances, there have been so many instances where in political cases, understand, where we failed to take advantage of those review jurisdiction, but rather are quick to go to town to bash the judiciary without understanding, like he said, that they are our last a wall of arbiters, and that without them, or their role is to hold together the very fiber of our society. Because, Kwame, they are, you see, he also said, and I'm sorry that I'm reading, but because I agree a lot of things he said, that we shouldn't bring politics into the judiciary. But the judiciary are holding a political position. You see, we all need to understand that, because the powers of government are not just the executive and then the parliament, but also the power to adjudicate. So really, it's a political position. What we should say is that we should not take partisanship into the judiciary. Yes, because really what is happening there is politics, and politics isn't bad in itself. Right now, because of the way we do politics, or the way we are giving politics a very bad name in the eyes of Ghanaians, and so Ghanaians will say that all politics are bad. The issue is not the politics, because whether you like it or not, we have to do politics. Once people need to govern, the very act of governance is politics. You understand? But what we should say, and what our focus should be, that in the way we speak, in the way we do our activism, our focus, our consideration, our number one consideration should always be what is in the best interest of the country. But unfortunately, because that has not been our consideration, right now we have a situation where, me personally, most of the so-called controversial decisions the judiciary have had to make over their life, most of them, as in when you scrutinize and pay the law, I'm struggling to find anything wrong with what they have done. That's my personal opinion. However, but because of the political narrative in town, and also because of the way, for let's say the president himself, in my view, has failed to show leadership in the caliber of people he's appointed. And the manner in which the political actors in the opposition also have spent their narrative, in my view, it is jeopardizing the trust and belief the citizens have in the integrity of the judiciary. And if you ask me, that is very, very dangerous. Because once we lose faith in the ability of the judiciary to dispense with justice, then the very thing, or the very reason for which we even adopted this system of governance to curb or prevent chaos.
You drew a perennial reference from 1992 till now.
Yeah.
And then you said that if you look at the number of judges who were appointed, one can safely assume that those were appointed by former President J.J. Rawlings. However, in MPP versus IGP, in MPP versus Ghana Broadcasting, and all those cases, they were ruled in favor of the MPP, meaning that even though they were appointed by J.J. Rawlings, they were not overly partisan. Can you say same for now? Because you see, in your submission, That's what I like. Because in your submission, you sought to bring into the fray a very important narrative about partisanship and politics. And so partisanship and politics must necessarily divorce partisanship from politics, because everything is political. We live in a political atmosphere. But as to what, if some people may be partisan, but will believe in the principle of rule of law to the point that they will do what is right. So clearly, and you know that justice must be rooted in confidence. Fantastic. And confidence is destroyed if people leave the courtroom thinking judges were biased. So please proceed.
See, that's why in all this I was talking about the people themselves. Because the system hasn't changed. You see, the system hasn't changed. So, you understand, the system, they are pretending the same regime, the same law. But that's what I said, if you are to extend the argument, then we must then narrow down on the human beings themselves. Because until Nanado, when we know presidents have the power to appoint EC officials, but no president, I stand to be corrected, no president has appointed people into the EC who clearly are known to be let's say faithful of a certain, because you see, when you are appointed as president, you are appointed into leadership. You understand? And you're not president over just your political party. You are president over the entire country. In the same way, when you are a judge, when you're a judge, you are not, you are a judge over to dispense with justice. You get a picture. And at all times, your focus is to do well to that call to dispense with justice. And after saying all this, you cannot dispense with the integrity of the human beings. And that's why when the Constitution was describing the character, as in the qualifications, they always add of high moral
turpitude.
Yeah. So because the human being himself is critical. So for me, the justices, and you have Osarfo-Marfo, which was one, you have Atuba, and as in when right now you see Osarfo-Marfo, Justice Osarfo-Marfo, having the courage to stand up and fight for the cause of all these pensioners, it tells you about the strength of that woman. Because she was appointed as into the Supreme Court by Judicial, and yet she was not afraid, or she was always guided by
the law,
commitment
to the law.
Yeah. And all I'm saying, so it's about the it's about one, it's about leadership. Now you the person, when you've been made president, you need to understand, like, maybe you are president, you're not president, or your responsibility is not towards your party. You are meant to give leadership. Two, you must always have recourse to the oath you made, because your oath was to protect the Constitution of Ghana. To protect the Constitution of Ghana means that you are going to protect all of our interests.
Yeah.
You understand? And I think that the human beings themselves, and also the judges, they need to understand. And as I'm saying that, if the systems have changed, then you could say that, listen, there's the same system. So then the issue is not about the system.
The system is about the people.
It's about the people.
Let me come to you.
So, I mean, I would have deferred all of this to you, legal brains. But I think the opinion of commoners, like us who are not legal brains, is also accepted. Yeah, but the point is that the people factor in the judiciary has two angles to it, which I mentioned earlier. The appointing authority can cure the mischief or the ills around the people factor. And the appointed can also help cure this people factor that is dwindling the confidence in our judiciary. How can the appointing authority do this? And that's I'm saying that sometimes you have discretionary power, and you can use it as to how you wish, because it's discretionary. But you must exercise that discretionary power with a lot of caution, knowing that it has far-reaching implications. So you have the authority of the power to appoint anybody to the Electoral Commission. And you know that this commission is supposed to be an arbiter for our election. They organize the election, they make sure that they coordinate everything around it. You want to engender confidence in that. For heaven's sake, there is no law that may tell you cannot appoint somebody. But if you know that the person's disposition, public appearances, utterances, everything lends the person to one side, it is very difficult that you appoint the person and expect that everybody will be happy that this person is neutral. A similar thing is what we are seeing in the judiciary. I do not know, but there are some information circulating in social media, the recent nominations of people to the appeal court and the other court. The one of the judges nominated is said to be a parliamentary candidate. I don't know if that is true. If it is, or supposed to have been, or contested, or something.
In the past, or
yeah, I don't know. So if it is, and someone like that is nominated, it may be a past event. But I'm just saying that for the sake of the fact that you want to build that confidence in the judiciary, I have the power to do that, but I will not do that. You understand? So I'm just saying that this can be cured from that part. But the final bit is that when that yardstick is missed, where the appointing authority doesn't exercise this discretion, then the final one rests with the appointed person. Once you have been given that position, know that you have that security of tenure. The person who appointed you cannot come and just sack you. And also know that you have the trust of the entire nation to work in our common interest. So damn the consequences of whoever appointed you, and act like our predecessors, like we have mentioned. We've had lawyers, judges of very high repute. Look, this was coming just years after the unfortunate killing of judges. But judges were still bold to stand for the truth.
But this is now several years down the line, nobody's been persecuted. And you're finding people in there that you wonder whether they'll be willing to stand up.
There would have been some level of overhaul, in the system.
So it's
Anyway,
okay.
Briefly, let me come to
we want to talk.
When the legal brains are talking,
Okay.
the good thing is that
briefly,
if we lose trust, we seize trust in the judiciary, we are finished as a country.
True.
And they've demonstrated over the years that you can count on them. Until Anna's expose, we didn't have a lot of issues, even when it came out. My worry is on those who also go on social media platforms to talk about the same people. We should also be careful with our choice of word when we are talking about the judicial system. The same court that ruled against Zuma, the same court overturned the 15-month imprisonment. So we can count on these people that we have at the court judiciary system. And we should also be mindful of what we say when we come also on other platforms.
All right, thank you very much. You're still watching the News Review segment here on Pan-African Television with me, Kwame Owusudan. So you can call me Champion KOD. You know my response is she. You can call me Orokotopinyo or Bofa Dadiefa. And you're still watching the News Review segment. Let me remind you that we're streaming live on Facebook, facebook.com/Pan-African Television. We're also on YouTube. So for those of you who may want to share your views with us via those platforms, you are at liberty to so do. Now, I know that council wants me to go straight to the port and discuss, those matters. Scholarship Bruhaha and discuss that. But what is also very important is this story about the president sacking Ofori Tenkorang, giving SNIT Director General job to Osarfo-Marfo's son. And I'll explain to you why. And I'm sure you would have a lot of interest in that. First of all, let me read the letter signed by Asante Bidie. And then I'll read something that might interest you. Office of the President, Secretary to the President, Jubilee House, Accra. The number is there, reference number is there. Date 8th of April 2024. Dear Dr. Ofori Tenkorang, termination of office and handing over. Reference is made to your appointment letter dated 1st July 2019, issued by the Public Services Commission. In accordance with paragraph 8 of the said appointment letter, I regret to inform you that the President has terminated your appointment effective 15th April 2024 with 3 months' salary in lieu of notice. So you know what that means. You are directed to hand over your office to Mr. Akufo-Addo, Osarfo-Marfo, and proceed to collect any terminal benefit you may be entitled to. To ensure a smooth transition, kindly hand over and cease to act as Director General of the Social Security and National Insurance Trust no later than close of business on Monday, 15th of April 2024. The President thanks you for your service to the nation and extends his best wishes. Dr. Ofori Tenkorang, signed by Asante Bidie, Press Secretary to the President, Corporate Vice President, Chief of Staff, Minister for Employment, Board Chairperson, National Social Security and National Insurance Trust, that's NIST, and the Chairperson, Public Services Commission. So this is the letter that was given to Dr. Ofori Tenkorang, relieving him of his position. Now, the reason why I said this story may interest me, you, and all of our millions of viewers out there is because, do you remember this book called Ejapade? Do you remember the book? Now, if you read Ejapade, and I read it one time on Pan-African Television, very dominant, and it appears that is the manifesto, the proper government manifesto that is being implemented. Now, let me read a portion of the Ejapade to you with specifics. It says, so there's a topic that deals with EcoBank. It says, we have 2 routes of entry into this institution. First is through SNIT, which has a seat on the board of EcoBank Ghana by virtue of its shareholding. The seat is occupied by the Director General of SNIT. In phase 2 of our agenda, Kofi Bosompem Osarfo-Marfo, who is a Deputy Director General of SNIT, should be made the Director General to give him the seat on the EcoBank Ghana board. Are you listening to me? Secondly, the wife of A. Sankuma is the group head of commercial banking and a member of executive management of the EcoBank Group. Our intelligence is that both the role of Group CEO and Managing Director of EcoBank will become vacant in the next 2 or 3 years. Okay? Nana has been advised to use all diplomatic avenues to support A. Sankuma's wife to fill one of these impending vacancies. Where is A. Sankuma's wife again? Okay, we'll find out. But that is what is projected on the screens now. The one that we have highlighted is the one that directly addresses this current issue that we are going to discuss on the show. So those of you who have a copy of the Japade, I think that now you know exactly why Dr. Tenkorang has been relieved and Kofi Bosompem Osarfo-Marfo. Unfortunately, Kofi Bosompem Osarfo-Marfo has my family name. You know, the other side of my family, they are Bosompem. So we have Kofi Bosompem, we have Sami Bosompem. They are all lawyers anyway. Right. So, unfortunately, he has the Kofi Bosompem, but I will separate the Kofi Bosompem. No, please. But clearly, that is it. Prof, I think I need to start with Professor Bayo on this one.
So we move to the...
We are discussing that one.
Okay.
We are discussing that. And then we'll go to the Bruha issue. Council's favorite topic.
That's National Secretariat.
I think that the horses are...
All right. I think my brief take on this is that SNIT is perhaps one of the most important organizations in this country. For everybody who is looking to the future, your hope lies in SNIT. Pensions are critical, and as we put in a lot of effort to bring in longevity of life, one of the critical things is pensions. As people live longer, dependency on pensions is going to increase. Unless we are increasing our working age, and if we still keep it like that, it means that people get out early and will depend on their pensions. So such an important national institution is what SNIT is. And SNIT is facing existential challenges. If you look at the actuarial models that are coming up, and the outgoing Director General has made this to the unions on countless platforms, that they see survival of the organization to be under threat. SNIT itself made a lot of investments that did not make sense. Their running costs as a percentage of their total revenue is too high compared to all other pension schemes in the sector. And I'm saying this because I have some experience in the pension industry. I've been a trustee on one or at least one pension board, not SNIT, and had training from the NPRA, and we've looked at the numbers. So you realize that SNIT has a problem. And sometimes when you sit aside as an ordinary worker, it makes it very difficult for you to understand some of the decisions of SNIT. But when you see things like this happening in the leadership of SNIT, with all these other information that we are picking up, then you begin to realize that, okay, maybe there are some explanations other than just a pure science or the figures or the numbers as to get this scheme to be viable, to return good returns to pensioners. There's more than that. For such an important institution, one would think that people will rise to leadership or will advertise, shortlist, do like what we do in the universities where you need to appoint a vice chancellor, set up a search committee, choose people with significant competencies. I do not know the competencies of the current Director General nor his deputy, so I cannot cast doubt on any. But when you get administrative appointments like this coming up, in the background of documents, alleged documents circulating like these ones, it leaves much to be desired. And I think that it's not helpful. I don't know the young man, the man Osarfo-Marfo. He may be a very fantastic person in the pension space. I do not know. I do not remember him then when I was involved a lot in these pension activities. But whatever the situation is, this type of appointment with this type of information lurking in the background, what kind of innovation, what kind of leadership structure, what kind of support system will you get in such an organization? And I don't know, but I think that I am not a happy man, especially with the information you have read out to us. And then this appointment coming in. Was there any reason for the termination of the current Director General? Is it that he's not meeting some KPIs? Does he have KPIs? Is he not meeting them? Is there a problem to be cured? Is he overaged? Is he on contract that we are terminating? And if you look at the nature of the termination, this is actually a dismissal. That's why they are paying you in lieu of, because it's not like your time is up. It's an abrupt dismissal. And so if you are dismissing the person, you cannot even have enough time to give the person notice, because you are dismissing at variance with their employment contract, because the employment terms may be that if you need to part, you have to notify us some 6 months before. If we need to part company with you, we need to allow you notice some 1 month or 2 months before. But in lieu of that, then we have to pay all of this to you.
I think you appreciate the depth of the issue we're discussing. I mean, I don't have an issue with Osarfo-Marfo's son.
It is a serious issue.
It could have been Apia Danko. I don't have
it could have been anybody.
You know, I don't think that we really understand the magnitude.
I mean,
what's the magnitude?
Because, so, I mean, when the Adapadie book first came out, and I was surprised.
But I was going to ask you some questions.
So please go ahead.
So when did the book come out?
This was before the 2016 elections.
Do you know of a man called, have you heard of this man, Nostradamus?
No.
So Nostradamus is like a prophet. He has a book in which he claimed to make some prophecies. And they claim some of his prophecies have come to pass. So you know the the Twin Towers. I think was attacked somewhere in 91 or 92 for the first time before the
2011.
Nostradamus saw it. He's made some predictions and they've come to pass.
The blind.
Yes, Nostradamus. Yes.
The blind person.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I remember. Yeah, that's one.
Yeah. I think this Japanese book comes closest to Nostradamus. You understand? So ideally, we would make the issue about SNIT, but I understand where Kwame is coming from. So this is not about SNIT and trust, and it was ordinarily the president is exercising his executive powers. We know that he has the power to appoint, he has the power to dismiss. Yeah, you understand. So and we know that of what the president is the one who is least used, that he doesn't substitute, except for this year. You understand? And this year, if I look at the past 3 months, he's done a lot, and we've not had a lot of questions has not been asked, because really he's using these powers that he gave us. So then, what's so special about this one? What's so special? Oh, me, I don't even look at the rush. He can hear Isaac the last. That is his prerogative. You understand? But what is special about this one is, for me personally, so I'm going to talk about myself. And in fact, I'll be doing myself this service if I say it confirms what I've always known. But when you read Ichapadie, when you read how the president has handled his presidency, then the question that we must ask, and I pray that history, or there's no attempt by anybody to alter history like they're attempting to alter history in the so many other issues. Because this is a president who campaigned, struggled to become president, not because he has the interest of Ghanaians at heart. No, clearly, this is a president who struggled, and we know the extent of his struggles, the kind of things he said when he wanted to be president. And having been given this high opportunity to serve, and how he's handled himself, this Kwame, I am fortified in my belief that Nana Akufo-Addo, some people call him William, Yes, William. No, I think I prefer the Nana Addo. That the only reason why he struggled and he became president was to pursue an agenda other than a Ghana agenda. understand? Is to pursue an agenda. So, in fact, he's a plot on leadership in this country. I've said on this show before that we don't want people to make mistakes, ideally, but because we are human beings, we'll make mistakes. I also know that, listen, we can forgive honest mistakes. So when you make mistake and it is an honest mistake, we can forgive. But you see, what we should not forgive is fraud. You see, it's fraud. Because, you see, clearly, based on, in my view, why I think he became president, then he has not made a mistake. He is following his plan or the purpose to the letter. You understand? And he does not care what he's doing to the country. He does not care. Because, you see, when you're a political leader, people look up to you. You go to America and Ted Kennedy, he never became president. And yet Ted Kennedy has so much respect in American history, politics. But Ted Kennedy, Alexander Hamilton, he died at 18-something. But you cannot talk about American history, especially in all forms, in all shapes and forms, without the name of Alexander Hamilton. He did not become president. And yet, when you're talking about one of the key people who is the reasons behind why America is an economic powerhouse, you cannot leave the name of Alexander Hamilton. You understand? Because see, when you get the opportunity, even to come on TV, you understand, to have this mass audience at your disposal, if you have the opportunity to be involved in any political campaign, to address people, because you are telling people your deep thoughts, then you must be guided by a very high moral standard and conviction. So when you go during your campaign, you say that, listen, in somebody's term, in fact, plainly, in Mohammed's and in President Kufuor's time, $1, 1 cedi. In Mills, Mahama, $1, 2 cedis. And that you told the whole Ghanaians, you would have expected that they will resign. Mm-hmm. And that the reason why they have not resigned is because of the envelope under the table, the sweetness of power. Then you become president. When you came, the dollar was $1 was 4 cedis. Now it's almost 14 cedis, and you have not resigned.
But it went beyond 14 and came.
Yeah. Let's say what it is now.
Yeah.
14 cedis. Because per his argument, if where the dollar goes, it was $1 to 2 cedis, 4 to even 6, he should have resigned. Per his own principle. You understand? But unfortunately for Ghanaians, the reason why he wanted to become president, he has become president, is not for our interest. It's not for our interest. How many Ghanaians have been plunged into poverty because of this deficiency of leadership? So I keep on saying this. And you see, you may put yourself up to be the president of Ghana. But when you are president of Ghana, essentially what you are is you are the leader of Ghana. You are not the leader of your political party. You are not the leader of a certain agenda, family agenda. I believe that your family is the most important family in Ghana and think that you must restore anything. You understand? That shouldn't be your agenda. Your agenda is just one. And that agenda is Ghana agenda. You understand? And I see the sense in why the framers of our constitution, knowing that there could be instances where we'll have Nanado and his kind, why do we put the directive principle of state policy and say that these are the policy considerations you should make when you are making decisions? And that burden, that what's it called, directive principle of state policy, that burden to consider certain things when you are taking decisions, that burden is just not on parliamentarians and is also on the citizens of Ghana. I think the first mistake was a mistake by the citizens of Ghana. Because of that burden to choose our leaders. Then we also have a responsibility to scratch the surface of the persons and character of the people we are going to vote for. Yeah. We didn't do that. We didn't do that well. And so we've put in all these powers into the hands of somebody whose reason for making decisions, because there are always reasons for why you make decisions, is not what is in our collective interest as the people. why would he choose people who are known to be supporters of a partisan party in positions where neutrality is required or demanded? But he did not make a mistake, like I'm saying. He did not make a mistake if his purpose was to fulfill his agenda. Because his agenda is one, to sustain himself in power. To sustain in power his cohorts. To sustain in power people who will perpetuate this agenda of his. Yeah, I understand. Now, who is to fight for Ghana? Because it means that a war is being waged against Ghana. Because if there's any interest which is fighting against the interests of Ghana, then a subtle war is being waged against Ghana. And it is our responsibility as Ghanaians to defend the interest of Ghana. We must defend that. And we see what is being done to our country is so dire that we cannot afford to sit down aloof, unconcerned. We cannot sit down and allow ourselves, our minds, to be swayed by vile propaganda. Because the enemy is ready to do anything.
The familiar spirits.
Yeah, in fact, times 2. Yeah, I'm telling you. It's you come and it's as if it's a joke. But it's not a joke. It's not a joke. In fact, the first topic was the topic of us trying to explain and understand the lack of belief, or that perception of the lack of belief in the judiciary. In 2016, were we having those kind of conversations?
No, we're not. No,
that's what I said. Yeah, understand. Understand. And so, but we'll be having those conversations because we have given crucial powers into the hands of somebody whose interest is adverse to the interest of Ghana, who has become president not because he's come to protect and advance our common interests, but he's there to perpetrate or to advance a family interest. You understand? And yes, you can make all the arguments you see, but day in, day out, the very despicable things written in that Ijapade book are being unraveled. One way or the other, like I'm saying, it's like Nostradamus number 2. Because you read something and you say, oh, no. I remember the first time I read that book, I didn't believe it was going to happen. The matters in the book were so despicable and so, I didn't believe, but we are, over the course of the past 6-7 years, it is unraveling before our very eyes. It's unraveling. And for me, and it's sad that I'm here saying this, yes, and for me, I think that Ghanaians, it's time now. We can't continue to sit down and sleep.
You know, and Council, you've actually made the issue more melancholic than it should even be. I mean, you've actually brought the issues.
I haven't done it well.
No, you've brought the issues to the fore where, if you are a reasonable human being listening to this submission, you will feel the epitome of melancholy.
Yeah.
You know, to the extent that you may even begin to weep. Because you see, you have demonstrated to us that it is not by mere coincidence that the Ijapade book was written. It is not by mere coincidence that all the things which were itemized in that book are being implemented, are happening. It's not by mere coincidence, you know. And if there's anything that we should be worried about, is the fact that in the dying embers of the administration of Akufo-Addo, they may do worse things.
I mean, you keep on saying something, and I keep on arguing with you.
Yeah.
You see, you keep on talking about the confidence that people in power have in their going to win this election, in spite of they having developed the worst kind of leadership.
You disagree with me, but you also know that there's some element of treason in there.
No. You see, so I don't disagree with you in terms of their confidence and why they have that confidence. You understand? But I believe in the strength of the people.
Okay.
Yes, I believe, and that's what I'm calling on the people, because where we are right now, I'm saying is like in the 60s. In the 60s up until 1990, there was what we call the Cold War. Because the war isn't just about taking arms and fighting. Technically, North Korea and South Korea are war. If that is technically, but in life, you could be at war and not even know.
That
You understand? And I'm saying that once anybody takes up an agenda which is adverse to the interests of the country, then the person is waging a war against you. And the most dangerous kind of war that can be waged against you is a war that you're not even aware. Yeah. So it was very subtle. Now, there is a war right now being waged against Ghana to take over the very soul of Ghana. That same war was waged against the MPP. They didn't see it. Now they've taken over the party to perpetuate their own agenda. You see, we should not take for granted the attempt to change the history of this country.
Yeah.
That JB Danko agenda. We should not sit down and look and think it is. But what we are up against are people who are extremely calculating. You understand?
Intentional.
And from my sadness is, so if you have this ability to plan and see the plan through.
You can't plan for the survival of Ghana.
Why couldn't you use the same talent? Because it's talent. You must be a person of immense intelligence to plan this and carry through without people even noticing. You must be extremely intelligent. So I don't buy that some argument that Nana-Addo is tough. He's very intelligent, and the people around him, they are extremely intelligent. My only issue is, so you have all these intelligence, ability to plan and see out. Why, but for familiar spirit, why wouldn't you use this intelligence to the benefit of the entire country? And that's why I'm saying, just to end, the only people who can save Ghana are the people of this country. And they must wake up, defend, and fight against this takeover. And we can only fight this takeover when we start, first of all, by ensuring that His Excellency Dr. Bawumia, who is very central to this plan, does not become president of Ghana.
Very well. Thank you very much for that. How shall I even describe your submission? I think it's very thought-provoking and revealing submission advanced by senior lawyer Apia Dankwa. Let me read a few messages and I come to Prof. Wadi on this subject. Greetings to you all, my brothers. Please, who in his right frame of mind did the sacking of Minister SNIT boss, increased fuel prices all in an election year? This is political suicide and is the work of God. You see, when the gods want to kill you, they first make you crazy. From Abattoir, Takwa Kwamina Krum. Thank you, Abattoir, for your message on WhatsApp. This one says, greetings, Orokoto, She KOD. Fantastic, you know the thing. But I didn't add a opinion of Bofana Defa and your noble panelists. Baraka de Salah to Mr. Marzouk and Dramani and all Muslims. Please remind viewers about the contact line for the expose documentary agenda. Nostradamus, aka the man who knows tomorrow, was as visionary as Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Well, thank you very much. Keori, in a civilized country, the authors of the Secretariat document would have been arrested and tried for treason. Is Ghana a country at all? Thank you very much. From Kwablavi Benghazi, you just simply forwarded a message to me, which means the message is not directed to me. And maybe you didn't even write it, Kwablavi. The termination of Mr. Tenkorang and the subsequent appointment of Kofi Osarfo-Marfo raises a lot of eyebrows, as many others who are qualified to be DG for SNIT are not given the opportunity, but the son of a political actor who is a close ally to the president. The nepotism under this government is so alarming and worrying. If you have no relative in government, you certainly cannot occupy certain positions or be employed into certain areas. I have suffered the nepotistic act of this government when I was denied the opportunity to get enlisted in the Ghana Armed Forces on 3 consecutive occasions. It is sad. Ghanaians need to wake up. Daniel Akpaliok from Sandema. Danny, sorry. Good morning to you, KOD and Pan-African Television. I'm Dominic from Bolgatanga, Tongo. Scholarship in Ghana here has now turned into a taboo or restricted to the poor and the needy, because everything has been politicized by the politicians, even though when the politicians need power, they quickly run to the poor for power. In fact, they should remember that when the end time of man comes, they will be accounted accountable. They will account accordingly on the judgment day. Okay. Now, let me also remind you that you can leave your messages with us and we'll read them. Some of you have sent it via text message. Let me read the text messages as well. Kwame, the MPP has made Ghana trash. Thank God we have end this year. We can't wait for December 7th. Titus Kebeyo Shaibu. Professor, say hello to Professor Titus Kebeyo. All right, thank you. I've done that. The MPP is afraid of its own shadows by Napoleon in Tumu Sankofa base. And on Facebook, Badu Kwame, this is true. He has caused a lot of harm by deceiving the MPP members and other Ghanaians to bring him to power. Now we have retrogressed so much now. This should not be taken lightly. I'm not happy about how the NDC is handling this issue. Bedu Kwame says no amount of summary dismissal will legitimize Akufo-Addo's condescendingly snobbish character that has bastardized the MPP leadership. The idea of being at war and not knowing is unfortunately what is going on between Africa and the West since independence. It's called ideological war. The judiciary in Ghana today has no caring conscience to uphold the integrity of his or her judiciary responsibility. They have their selfish agenda to enriching themselves by blindly obeying their appointor. Ajamboro Babas Wiamwasi says Ghana has fallen apart. No one should take Baumia and his incompetent MPP serious. They are just blind building castles in the air with nothing to show. What have they done at all with all the loans? Mahama, come and save Ghana. Anto says, scaled in a civilized country, the authors of the Agapadi. Okay, I think I've read this one already. You sent it via Kwame. Say Barika the seller to Professor Titus Beyo. Shaibu Hapa sent in this one. All right, thank you very much. Let's come to Prof. Bwedi on this subject matter. Respectfully, please, you may proceed.
Kwame, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I was enjoying the submission.
I was indeed enjoying this.
I was laughing at the point in time.
But
it was a good submission.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed the part where we were talking about familiar spirits. And I don't know why the council tend to be a pastor. Not casting the demons and all that. I mean, it's a right submission. I don't know the book, but I'm yet to get a copy of that. In fact, if things are those that are said in the book are anything to go by, then we have a problem. We have a problem. Getting into election year, we are going to hear a lot of stories from now to December. In fact, a lot will be coming up. We woke up today, we are told that the government has relieved Dr. Tenkorang of his position as Director General, SNIT. Well, Wednesday, February, I think 14th, since that time, the government has implemented a lot of changes in his government. And I don't know whether it's an avenue to enhance governance efficiency nationwide. We don't know. The latest one was the swap, Upper West, Upper East ministers. That was the latest one. And we are told of this today. I asked several questions when we hear stories like that. And as intellectuals, we try to question the system. Why? And my good friend, Prof. mentioned, is it about one, KPIs issues, performance issues? Is it that we are yet to have some scandals there? That is why he's taking this initiative to kill the stories and prevent such things. We don't know. It's our performance of this guy. Let's go back to history. Tenkorang, fantastic gentleman. I think it's an MIS product or something from Kivas, from Tech to US.
Oh, he attended Tech. Oh, that's why. Yeah. That's why. He attended Tech.
Oh, well, I'm yet to confirm, but I'm sure he did.
Okay.
I'm sure, because he's an MIT product or something, US. Yes.
Oh, then it's 10. Yeah. That's why it's intelligent. Because if you are 10K, you are the best.
Don't bring that contention.
Please.
They are so between university faculty. Of course.
Which school is that?
I also attended. I also attended Tech. And I stand with you.
You see, no, it's not talking like a verse. I see. So, very fantastic gentleman. Remember, I think somewhere 2022, he won an award as an outstanding public service. So, based on transformative work over there. And we can count about several plethora of achievements under this belt over the years. Talk about SEED. They have a program called Self-Employment Enrollment Drive. Trying to get those people, the informal sector. And it's done so well across the country. We can give you figures of how many informal sector people enrolled into the pension fund. That's a lot over the years. I don't know whether there have been scandals in that area or trying to get support from him. The government is not getting. We don't have any issue about what is happening. But we wake up every day, we hear a lot of stories, and sometimes when we hear things like that, they are not the best. And I will tell the same direction. Your submission that I wish there would be a day that our political leaders, in terms of appointments such as these, they'll put it like the way we do in the universities. You will go through the ranks. We get independent people to interview to see whether you are qualified or not. The headline was worrying. Akufo-Addo sacks Ofori Tenkorang, gives SNIT Director job to Osarfo-Marfo's son. Yes. And if you read this story, what's to come into your mind? It's worrying for me. The government, we should know, just as my brother indicated, has a right to appoint and also can do replacements, it can do dismissal and all that. It's his purview. He can do everything he wants to do. But when it comes to some of these issues, we have to be careful. Particularly when we are talking about Buhaha. And this has a direct relationship with the Buhaha issue, which has also surfaced. The list that came. Was it mentioned? Yes.
In fact, somebody has even shared the full book with me. I had it before, but I lost it. I have the soft copy. Yeah, I'll send it.
Then.
You have a copy? Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. No, when you read it, you weep.
In fact.
Trust me. And you know there was the first one, I know. Yes, that one. That's why they said phase 2. So this is the phase 2 of the project. And you see, this
is a project.
You remember
everything there has happened.
Yes. You remember they attempted. See that? You remember they attempted unsuccessfully to pitch their chief. With Otumfo. Yes. It was only the Japan.
I see.
That is why their palace, if you go to Chebi now, the palace is similar to Otumfo's palace. Huge, broke buildings that were closest to them.
They've even bought a Rolls Royce on the back.
Oh, yes.
I see. In fact, I'll take the phase 1.
Oh, you should read it.
I'll take it. It's so interesting. So if you look at the timing, sometimes politicians should watch the period in which they take certain decisions. I think last week was all over the place. The Buhaha, we'll come to that story later on. The names that popped out, the names that were given. And we woke up today, and another story, a position given to the son of. I don't have a problem at all. If the person is qualified as a Ghanaian, in fact, that man has done so well. We'll come to that issue later on. I don't have a problem if a position is given to someone who is competent to manage. But my take is on that further. Let the procedure and the system works. If the procedure and system they work, we don't have a problem. We don't have a problem at all. But the timing for me is wrong. And the issues. So we don't need the government to come and tell us issues in SNIT before sacking the leader. No. But then we wish that certain issues are unraveled and we also can speak to those issues. He was performing well. I don't know the KPIs given to him. I don't know what he's done. But then we wake up today and then we are told of this story. My last issue on this. Anytime a government is appointed, and that also I will not deviate from what my friend said, that the president doesn't have good intentions and all that. I would say several governments, if you make an attempt to run for the president, you have a good intentions. For that one, it's clear. You have the nation at heart. But sometimes your operations, whilst in power, sometimes there'll be variance. And that's what probably we are seeing today. So let me say that yes, there could be good intentions, but then what is happening now, we can't speak to those issues. And the timing for me is wrong. The man has done so well. Government should also give us some kind of clue. Whatever is happening over there, because of this, I decided to take him off. It's better to do that. Yeah.
Except to depart briefly when you say that when you say that government may have good intentions, but when they get into power, then they...
I said may. So that's a support.
Because, I mean, this is very, very clear that whilst in opposition, they didn't have good intentions. Because, I mean, this thing was prepared before they even assumed office. And it's been implemented, ditto. You know, when we're in school, we say ditto. Apona to ditto. Yeah. This one, apona to ditto. My learned colleague, Stivo, sent a copy of the book. It says a copy of the book for perusal of that, my brother speaking. Good morning, my learned colleague Kwame. Stephen in Bekum, most grateful to you, Council, for sharing the document with us. Good morning, KOD. This is clearly state capture by this government, and it's a science according to the Padia document. Everything is being implemented to the latter. I support His Excellency John Dramani Mohammed's proposal on judicial reforms and any other institutional reforms to sanitize the system. Sami from Saveligu sent in this one.
Okay.
Let me also read these messages. Please, you see, the messages are a lot too. So when you send your message, don't just say hello, because you may send it again and I will not see it. So when you get the opportunity, just send what you have to send and then I'll read it. Good morning to you, Mr. Host Kwame Usu, and your noble panelists, especially to lawyer Andrew Apia Dankwa for his revelation. And how do I become a member of Movement for Change? That's from Azay Mahia. He wants to be a member of Movement for Change. Okay, very well. So, good morning to you, lawyer KOD, and your panelists. Please, why is lawyer Apia Dankwa crying today? Are they not the same people who brought an Addo on our neck? All that we are going through, they were made by Dr. Lawyer Apia Dankwa and his friends. I'm Kelvin from Brekum. You did part of the problem. Now you are crying.
You have seen the light. It's not allowed.
People clearly want us to discuss the scholarship brouhaha. So we are turning our attention to it. But I think let me read a few more messages, maybe two, and then we will dispatch this briefly. Better still, let's discuss the scholarship brouhaha. OSP petition to probe registrar. Let me start with Prof. I mean, you are all professors of academics, and clearly, I'm sure your nerve was pricked really, or racked when you heard this very disturbing story about scholarships given to specific people in government, not even people in MPP, or specific people in the ruling, administration. What was your initial reaction when you heard the story, and how do you think we can better the scholarship secretariat in order that the people who are supposed to benefit from the scholarship secretariat do really benefit from it? That is the needy, brilliant but needy. It didn't say brilliant and needy. It said brilliant but needy. You have to be brilliant, but you are in need. If it says brilliant and needy, that's also a different ball game. You know, you people understand semantics. But brilliant but needy. Brilliant but needy. It means that you have to be brilliant. But in being brilliant, you have to also be needy. Because there are brilliant people who are not in need.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? It didn't say needy students alone. It added, there's a caveat. You have to be brilliant. So the people who have been given this scholarship to study abroad, we don't even know whether they are brilliant. You see, we don't know whether they are brilliant. As for needy, it's subjective. Maybe they are in need, but whether they are brilliant, we don't know whether they're satisfied.
Needy isn't subjective.
Okay, well, I mean, from that perspective,
It's not subjective.
no, okay, it's objective. From that perspective,
Yeah.
So
there are objective ways.
I agree. I agree. So please let me start with you, Prof.
When I heard the story, if I'd had my heart in my mouth, was a bit surprised, and I was hoping that it shouldn't be a true story. It should be one of those things that we hear.
Prof, let me just truncate you shortly.
Okay.
For those of you asking for a copy of the Japadia document, I will encourage the Facebook team to post the Japadia document on our Facebook page on Pan-African Television page, Pan-African Television's page on Facebook. So please, the producers should endeavor that the copy is posted there so people can go and download and read it for yourselves. Please proceed.
Yeah, so I was a bit disappointed, but it's an issue, a running story. Let's come back, before I come back to the substantive issues, because we shape lives in various universities, it's important to give a picture, a mental picture of what happens over there. Every semester, students are forced to make payment. I mean, not forced, but they have to pay. If you're unable to pay, you see the red size when you're about to write exams. They will send you letters. You'll be at the hall and they'll sack you. Sometimes it might not be their fault. You can see someone very brilliant. In fact, I checked the transcript of a student who is in level 400 now. Look, you see A's throughout. But that person comes from somewhere in the Volta region. So I called him one day to my office. How do you survive? He gave me issues at home. In the midst of this guy was able to get those grades. It's a worrying situation on campus. Those who are unable to pay. In fact, we've joined some free education over the period. Yes, might not be the best, but we are still having the best out of that. So that is a picture. And your question you asked, how can we improve the system? That will be the last part I will talk about this. Let's come back to the story. We are told that the fourth estate, who are the fourth estate?
The media.
The media, good. If I will have to comment them. They started this issue 2021.
Oh, the fourth estate is actually a specific media organization. Yeah.
Okay.
But I thought you were talking about in terms of governance.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. In fact,
That's Manasseh Zui's team.
all the team.
Yeah.
They started somewhere March 2021. They failed trying to get the list of those people on the scholarship. They failed. But they pursued, forced their way out, and finally got the list. Let's look at Scholar Secretariat. Their core objective is to offer support locally and foreign scholarships to academically talented students and financially disadvantaged. These two keywords should guide us in the operations. To provide support locally and internationally, academically talented students, but financially challenged. And that sums up your submission. Brilliant, but
Needed.
a change of emphasis. It should be brilliant, but it must be in need before you can assess. Now, so in 2019, we are told the government has spent, I think, 237 million Ghana cedi. And then 2020, they have also spent about 200 million. I was happy. Well, if your government could provide such support to our students who are financially challenged with that glossar sum amount, that's good. Now, that's why auditors will do this. Let's go behind just the figures and see the listing. Those who benefited. Not just the numbers. Don't tell us how much you spent. That's okay. And accountants and all that, so we go beyond sometimes and go down and find out. And that's what they've done. And we are surprised about the list of people who are there. In fact, I'm yet to get the list, but what I've gathered, I stand for correction. Some names have been mentioned. The question that you asked, yes, they might be brilliant.
But are they needy?
Satisfied, that will satisfy one leg of the equation. Would they be needy? Are they in need of that support? Now link what I've said to the story I told you about what happens on campus. Those who receive support from the Scholarship Secretariat. For me, we have been told that one member for the MPP, NDC, Ayariga or something, has petitioned NDC, the National Communicator or something, petitioned yes, petitioned the OSP.
The Deputy Youth Organizer.
Again, a good call. And that is why today we have been told that...
He's a lawyer too, so...
Okay, OSP, they are to investigate this. Now, we expect our government agencies to be more proactive and not reactive. Over the years, what have they done? The attorney generals, we were here commending them, the judiciary and all that. We also need to see same. The attorney general, the OSP. How many years must it take them to investigate this? How many years? It took the Fourth Estate to do, calling for a list of the beneficiaries. It should not take you a year to get this. They were frustrated, but they didn't give up. Pursued the issue, and finally. So do we trust our public official to act in our interest?
Good question. Let me pause you there. Very good question, but let me pause it for want of time. But I think that you've actually made your points clear. Let me read this message from Francis Ampen. I'm reading this message because Okada Kurum is near Akabwem. If you are going to my father's village, hometown, Okada Kurum, then you go to Aka, yes, Rara. That's right.
You know your father's from Kuntasi.
My father.
It was a Rara from Kuntasi.
No. I'm from Akabwem.
No, but is it around the Rara?
No. Akabwem is Akabwem. Rara. I see what you mean. But Rara is when you get to the Rara, then you no. We are not in Rara. We are from Akabwem.
The Rara is your chief.
Okay.
Does he have any link to a chief of Rara?
No. I don't know.
So
the chief in Accra. I'm actually from the royal family, but these days I don't know.
Because you see, English Amafro, like a lot of the villages in Accra, they are all most of the time.
But they're the first settlers, yes.
That was it. So find out.
Yes.
So find out.
They are the proper Ghanaians.
So find out.
But Francis Ampe says, my daughter had 6 A's in 2022. Was from low class school, Okada Krum SHS. He had grade 8. We tried everything to get scholarship for her, but proved futile. I'm a teacher by profession who at all needs the scholarship. The scholarship. She was the best female student in the Oti region. The rich getting richer, the poor poorer.
Yeah, I'm very emotional about this, and so because I have personal.
Don't cry now.
No, I wouldn't.
Okay, let me just read this message because I think that would be great service. So Omar sends this message. Says, "Good morning to you, Lawyer KOD. Good job for your perusal and eloquent moderation. And I'm speaking to the issues regarding many Ghanaians. Some of us are always proud of you because you don't follow your stomach. Uma, thank you very much. As far as we will speak the truth. Just that we are hungry, but yeah, we manage.
Yeah, so with the scholarship issue, I'm just saying that I have personal story to tell about it, but I won't go in there. And that's what, I mean, I'm also now university faculty. But personally, I struggled in the university. I struggled. In fact, eventually, it was the University Student Financial Aid Office that helped me a bit in medical school. All right? I struggled through, and of course, I wouldn't say I was a bad student, okay, in terms of my academic performance. So by all standards, I would have qualified for a scholarship, but you do everything you won't get. The real purpose of these scholarships is what? We've talked about the criteria, but what is the real objective? One, in my opinion, is to support this brilliant but needy student to be able to access education, because otherwise they won't be able to access it. The second one is to fill critical national needs in terms of human resource. So we need a particular type of specialization in the country. We don't have it. We don't have that human resource capacity. People have the capacity to do that and cannot afford. We sponsor them to fill that human resource gap. That is what scholarships are set up for. So it's not, I mean, if you have, you need teachers, you have thousands of teachers teaching the same thing, but you need maybe a teacher of Spanish, and you don't have anybody in that field. And there's nobody teaching Spanish in Ghana. You need to send someone to go to Spain to go and study that, come and fill that gap. That would be a good use of a scholarship. Scholarships are also used for economic purposes, and these are the level of international bilateral and multilateral relations, where some countries offer scholarship to other countries to enhance their ties. And these are all acceptable. Now, fundamentally, situating our scholarship secretariat in the office of the president, I think, is where the problems starts. When the Fourth Estate wanted to scrutinize the scholarship secretariat rots that is coming out, look, they have to go under right to information before they can get the list. They requested for the list, it won't come. They have to go through the Right to Information Commission. Eventually, they ordered them to produce the list. They were saying it involved people's personal details. They say, okay, de-identify the data, and then still give this information out, because the scholarship secretariat is funded by public funds. Get Fund is one of the chief financiers of the scholarship secretariat. The Get Fund Act itself stipulates that it's supposed to support local education. There's a small window for external programs, and that window has now become the norm. What I have questions more than answers. I would want to know, from the breakdown of money spent by the scholarship secretariat, the 200 million plus you are mentioning, what percentage supported local students and what percentage supported foreign studies? The quantum of people in our universities that are struggling, the monies you are hearing being given to one person to do courses, how critical are those courses to our national development? And these are, some of them are courses offered in Ghana here, in our universities.
Most of them actually.
And we go and sponsor people to go and do the same course out.
Public health, administration.
Really?
HR.
Why? Is that the best use of our money? Come to our medical school. We have students that are unable to continue the program because of money. We've had private individuals coming together, contributing money every time to come and support students who are struggling to finish this program. And Prof will confirm that we have this in all faculties in the university. So, what really is this money being used for? I want to go straight to the solutions because of time. And if you are looking for the way forward, I think that the scholarship secretariat should be depoliticized in its setup. Left to me alone, if it were possible that it will be passed by the law can be amended, it should be taken out of the office of the president. But if it will be left at the office of the president, and we have to work with it as it is now, first of all, that forensic audit call, I supported 100%. because that audit is going to let us know how these monies have been appropriated. Who are those who qualified for it but did not get? And those who got, what was its usefulness to us as a nation? Was that the best use of Get Funds money? And to tell us what we should never do again going forward. That is one of the importance of this forensic audit. And if the OSP probes it, I support it, not necessarily because we are assuming that people have been corrupt or people have embezzled money, but if money is even used really for scholarships, but it's not the most judicious use of that money, we must be able as a people to be able to come back to our to the table and then say that, look, we will want to use our money this way or that way or that way. And it should be transparent. I think the Scholarship Secretariat should be forced each year to publish all the beneficiaries of these scholarships and what they are studying, so that we can all monitor how useful the Scholarship Secretariat is to the nation. Secondly, I think that we should have clear criteria, academic criteria for who qualifies. In the university, it's very simple. We can get people CPA. We can get it. We can get who is doing well and who is struggling in the university academically. And in this country, and it's one of the challenges we are having, is the same principle of the free SHS, which is good, but not being utilized well, not being implemented well. And we are having a situation where we do equality, but not equity. We cannot equalize everybody. When you make the argument, I heard the registrar saying on air, those people are also Ghanaians. Yes, they are Ghanaians. No one said they are not Ghanaian citizens. But per your mission stated on the website, that they must be brilliant but needy. Do they fulfill that requirement? Are they studying a course that is not available in this country? Are they filling a national human resource need? Is that what we are using the money for? So I think that a committee should be set up after all of this investigation. One of the means that I think we should go around it, we should get academics from the various universities into a committee that reviews these applications and not left to you. I mean, there's a friend who came to me, he had applied for this scholarship several and was not getting. He came to me, they said, oh, if you know a politician, you can get. And I said, oh, please, I don't know if I'm yet a politician, but eventually, a friend gets a complimentary card of a top politician, stick it to his application, goes through, and the next day he gets a scholarship. Then the use of discretionary power again becomes questionable. So if we don't set in checks and balances and we just trust on people's judgment, they have proven over and over again that we cannot trust that judgment. The registrar has an academic background. He holds a PhD, and I think he knows the value of supporting needy, brilliant but needy students. And he knows it is not difficult to select the people who need this help. So if they are not doing that, then there must be more reasons than what we know. And that can only come out when this kind of audits are done. But I think any scholarship secretariat that works without publishing the beneficiaries, the clear criteria or who gets this year, even the university publish their cut-off grades for admissions. Yes, before you apply to a university, you can tell from the last academic year, for this program, what is the minimum cut-off that was admitted. The university does that for a good purpose, so that you can prepare yourself, assess, and see whether you even qualify to apply for that program. If the university were just interested in getting people's application fees, they wouldn't publish that. So that you don't even know whether you qualify, you just apply. The scholarship secretariat must come up with that criteria. And I think that the call for probe is timely and it must be done. And a clear criterion should be published.
Thank you very much. A lot of you are sending me messages relative to the Japadier document, and you are referring me to specific pages and articles. So we will read them. One that has got to do with the judiciary and governance in Ghana. Article 5.0, page 31 of a Japadier document. So maybe when you read it, you will understand why lawyer Pierre Dankwa is worried about the partisan nature with which we are running our judiciary, and if care is not taken, that will create a lot of conflagrations for us. But let me come to you so that we end today's.
We have time. Because
we do not have time. But you proceed, and at least you highlight a few. You know how to summarize. You're not summarizing.
Actually, this is not about summary. Because you see, my two professors have done very well. And obviously, they are professors. What else do you expect? They will find a problem and then prefer solutions, excellent solutions. So I won't go to the solutions and I won't go to the problem. I'll go to the. But you see, he asked a certain question: why? Because a scholarship was set up by Kwame Nkrumah. Essentially, the most important reason was to boost the human resource capital of this country. Yeah, you understand? And there was a reason then why it was at the office of the president. Now, the point is, so from 1960 up to now, why do we have a situation where people who have fattened themselves on the largesse of government, they are the only ones taking the scholarship against the massively brilliant Ghanaians who can't have this. Also, when you think about the fact that this scholarship or what was created in those days is the reason why we have Ghana can proudly say that we give the world Professor Susumibi SKB Asante, one of the foremost international investment lawyers in this country. You understand? I'm sure, but for the scholarship, Ghana cannot hit the status that we give the world Professor SKB Asante. Now, so why have we created a system that will prevent us the opportunity of giving the world more than that Dr. SKB Asante's? Is because right now the scholarship secretariat has become one of the biggest tools to perpetuate the concepts of patronage, clientelism, and political entrepreneurship. You understand? Is one of the tools that Nana Addo has used to, in this is the war he's waging against Ghana. Now, in my foray into politics, and it hasn't been long. I think I'm my third year. I've come across a number of people. One of the most brilliant young guys I've come across is a young man called Gabriel. Not Oshilakon, Gabi. He's just about 30 years old. Brilliant engineer, aced his SSC, did great work in tech. He's a civil engineer, very brilliant young man. He wanted a scholarship because he'd gotten a school in the UK that was offering him a degree or a master's program which he could not find in Ghana. Not how to do with this railway, but serial railway stuff. You know, sometimes there's some merit, so they made them write an exam. Yes.
He wrote the exam. I think he topped, or he was one of the highest people. So now he must be given a scholarship. Then they call him. Are you? And he's an MPP boy, Tescom boy, very sharp guy. We see you posting Alan. We see you posting Alan. There's a vow Alan right now, and we'll give you the scholarship. There's a vow Alan right now, and we'll give you the scholarship. Understand? So that's Gabi's case. Obviously, you understand. I know a lot of people will fall into that trap. There's a vow, and immediately will be granted the scholarships. That's one. Two, they are selling the scholarships. That's one of the major reasons why the OSP's job is very critical. Because there are serious allegations that the scholarships are for sale. Have you not heard? That they are for sale. Go and pay like 70,000, 80,000, and they'll give you scholarship. Yeah.
Then it's only those who have money.
Yeah, so beyond the patronage, it's been for their main focus right now is to use the scholarship, the grant of that, as the biggest tool to sustain this policy of patronage. So you're a small boy. When I can pay scholarship, be man. Then they find some scholarship for you to go and do some useless course which won't benefit Ghana. Two, beyond having used it to perpetuate patronage, clientelism to destroy our country, because the biggest tool that can be used to fight democracy is patronage and clientelism. Because you buy the mind of the person, the opinion of the person. About 70 to 80% of the scholarships are given on the basis of this patronage and clientelism. I'm telling you. Now, when they've done that, the rest is business. Bring money
then we'll give you scholarship. So that the purpose, and that's why I'm glad this. That's why my professors, I said to the hope I'm able to prove myself worthy to be in their midst.
Yeah.
Because just to enter, I know you didn't give me just 3 minutes because this needs time. Because there's a purpose for why we established the scholarships, and there's also a secondary purpose now. What is the wisdom in giving all these monies to universities outside?
That's my point.
When our universities also need resources. So, a lot of these programs that are done in our universities, why don't you give them the scholarships to go to these universities to also give our universities some form of financial muscle? Like, somebody is going to do HRE and you send the person outside. What's the wisdom? People are doing law, you send them outside. We have faculty of laws here with faculty. When we say faculties and human beings who have proven themselves beyond. I mean, look at this, my 2 fine pros. Why would you bypass them and send students to some university? University, you understand? I know that the time is short, but to end, when I call that the only people who can defend Ghana in this war that is being waged, that call is also a call on some of the symptoms of that war, and is a Secretariat. I think my prof here has given the solutions. You understand? Let's first of all decouple it from the presidency. Probably create some form of a trust.
Yeah.
Find some trustees.
Yeah.
So at least there's some huge burden on them that we can hold them accountable, so that the purpose for which this scholarship secretariat was made to change the destiny of families can be fulfilled. Unless that is done, then the familiar spirits.
This is hi, Kwame Usuda, the Nobel panelist. Thank you for your contributions in connection with the scholarship issues. I'm highly disappointed in our selfish and heartless politicians who claim to be angels rather than devils, and also in support of OSP to prove the registrar. Thanks from Azay in Mahia. I think good morning to you. Fair and insightful discussion. I always enjoy your panel members' neutrality and focus on the issues. Thank you. Can I get the Japadia document? Okay, we're going to post it on our Facebook page respectfully. This one also says, good morning to you, KOD. I'm George from Nandom. I'm very impressed with the discussion on the scholarship Buhaha. We all have to make a clarion call on the appropriate authorities to tackle this scandal. My regards to Professor Bayo, and tell him I'm looking forward to meeting him soon ahead of the agenda. Okay, this is the Japadia agenda. KOD, good morning to you and your panelists. All right, thank you for your message. I want to know whether Scholarship Secretariat and GEFAN are not social interventions. I ask this question because MPP communicators always say that NDC hasn't brought any social intervention in Ghana. From James K. Sarba, thank you for your submission today. KOD, the continuous rule of the MPP government doesn't bode well for prosperous future. We should all join hands to rescue this country. Kweku from La Paz sent in this one. This one is Tomla from Mankran. So all the actions that Nadu Baumia and the mafias are taking in government are seriously in line with the Japadia document, meant to enrich themselves and their families, selfishly capture Ghana's resources entirely while destroying the people's jobs, businesses, and livelihoods. The only way to save this country from the selfish mafia is to vote massively for JM and the NDC, because a vote for Baumia is a third term for Nadu and the mafias. I endorse 24-hour economy. All right, and this one says the change of leadership at SNIT is a warning sign to SNIT pensioners. The government want to touch their pension money. Charlie, now I will touch on there. Good morning. So what you saying? What the lawyer is saying is 100% true. The scholarship is being sold. Well, thank you very much to you, Professor Titus Bayo, NDC PC for Lambusie constituency. Thank you, lawyer Apia Dankwa, for your time. He's a leading member of Movement for Change. And thank you, Professor Isaac Boyd, lecturer at UPSA. It's been an insightful discussion. Thank you. Thank you. Blessed Manaloma So, Ivan Barnes, Ohima, Echa, Ejekum, and to the technical team, Frank, and the rest of the guys. Let me say a big thank you to you for tuning in and watching us this morning. My name is Kwame Usuda, so I'll see you tomorrow. Do have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.